It is November 29th, 2024. We are in Largo, Florida. It is just before 2 p.m. when officers are sent to a local Raising Cane's. Yep. The spot, famous for chicken fingers, Texas toast, and that signature Cane's sauce. But that specific condiment is exactly what caused employees to call the police. Hi there, welcome to... Hey, is there a Tatiana working? Are you Tatiana? Okay. Where do you want to chat? Outside? Yeah, outside works. We can head over by the cruiser. Perfect. So did this happen today? Yes. Okay. Around 5 o'clock? Do you know her personally? Okay. So walk me through what happened. Apparently she was short 8 Cane's sauces from her tailgate order. And I fixed it for her. I told her we are so sorry about that and gave her the 8 sauces. She was not happy. She wanted more for free. I said, we cannot do that. It is against our rules. That is not our policy. She did not like hearing that. She kept complaining about wasting gas to drive back, basically just angry that I stood my ground on the free stuff. Then she asked for my name, but per our security rules, we do not have to give it out. I explained that to her, and she really did not like that answer. After asking me again, I said, look, I am not giving you my name. She reaches out, grabs my keys and my ID, trying to read it, sees there is no name on it, lets go, and storms off. When she first arrived here, did she use the drive-thru or come inside? Inside. It was a mobile order. Got it. Do you know if she was picking up for herself or someone else? For herself. Mobile pickup inside the store. And what time did she originally come in? I want to say around 1:15, maybe 1 o'clock in that window. Is it on camera? Yes. Okay. So she comes in for a mobile pickup at, we will find the timestamp, grabs her bag and leaves. Yes. Okay. Then she returns. First she calls about it, then she walks in, and we're like, you were on the phone with us, but you were standing right here. Yeah. Okay. So she comes back an hour later. We will verify the call log. Was she still on the phone when she walked into the restaurant? Seriously? And can you look up the phone number too? Yes, it is right there on the tablet. Okay. All right. So she walks back in. She is on the phone. Who makes contact? Do you go up to her? Yes. I approached her first because I could tell she needed help. Yep. And that is when the whole incident kicked off. Okay. So you walk over to her. Does she hang up? No. She stayed on the line, still on the phone. And what was the dialogue when you walked up? I said, hi, how can I help you? And she just launched right into it. She said, hey, I am missing 8 Cane's sauces. I just drove all the way here. Now I have to drive back here again, waiting on sauces I already paid for. I said, I am so sorry, ma'am. I walked away, grabbed the 8 sauces, and brought them back. That is when she really lost it because she started demanding extra sauces for free. I told her no. And that was pretty much it. Okay. Where were you standing when she tried to snatch your lanyard? Right at the front counter near that little opening. Yeah. Now, you might be thinking this cannot seriously be over Cane's sauce, but it was. And what made it a potential felony was the customer allegedly forcibly grabbing the employee. So she grabs the lanyard. How hard did she pull it? Not super hard, I do not think. I think once she flipped it and realized there was no name on it, she let go immediately. Okay. And right after she took off, do you guys have video showing her car or license plate? I am not sure about the plate. I have a photo of her standing by her car, but the camera angles are tricky, so you cannot really see the back of the vehicle. Okay. All right. Based on your story, I am going to review the footage. Grabbing you is battery, but trying to take your property by force could be strong arm robbery, which is a felony. So we are going to check the tapes and see what we can find on there. Can you pull it up on your phone? No, I cannot. I have to call my manager. Okay. That is the only way I can access it. Yeah, just fill them in on what is happening and ask if there is a way for us to view it right now. We are trying to pin down the time. I think she said it was between 12:45 and 1:15. Looking for a lady with, it is hard to tell. I assume she is going to be right in this shot. Yeah, right where they are standing now. What is the timestamp here so I can spot you? 1:20. 1:20. Yes, there she is. What time does it say? Yeah, around 1 o'clock. Yep, right about 1:25. Two angles here. This one, and she said she was on the phone with a guy at the time. It went down, then she went off on you about the sauce. Came back at 1:28. Dispatch says the owner of one vehicle lives in our jurisdiction. How far away is that? Let's zoom in on this one. It is going to be tough to see clearly. Same view, just standing there. Look at that angle. You have a clear shot of the hands right there. Yeah. Can you back the footage up just a sec? She is reaching for the keys in that frame. Correct. The timestamp is 12:08 and 5 seconds, probably because she is still on the clock at 1:02. Then at 1:07, she is right there saying she won't provide her name. That is standard policy. We never release names because people just use them to call back and harass the staff. Definitely. Let me save that clip real fast. Yeah. The security footage backs it up, and authorities claim the whole altercation started over dipping sauce. Investigators identified the patron as 31-year-old Mackenzie Keeling. According to the police report, surveillance shows Keeling walking into the establishment at 13:25 hours while on a call and heading to the mobile order counter. At 13:26 hours, Keeling is seen talking to a staff member until Herbert enters the shot at 13:27 hours and hands Keeling a Raising Cane's box containing 8 serving cups of sauce. The security camera clearly records Keeling gesturing wildly with her hands while she talks. Then at roughly 13:28 hours, the video shows Keeling suddenly lunging her right hand at Herbert with significant force, snatching Herbert's lanyard toward herself, and briefly stealing the key card until Herbert manages to yank the lanyard back, causing Keeling to lose her hold and storm out of the building. When the detective finally reaches Mackenzie by telephone, she insists she is completely innocent. I am filing an information report regarding an incident that occurred at Raising Cane's on East Bay earlier. Yeah, I was just looking at an ID to check if she was wearing a name tag. Right. Like I mentioned, this is purely for documentation. I simply need to come over, get your version of events, and have you complete a witness statement if you are willing. Is there a location where we could meet so you can write that out later on, but not right now? Okay. Where works for you later? Or would you prefer to come down to the station? I don't know. This is insane. I literally just grabbed a tag to read her name. I have no idea why I am being singled out for this. I seriously did nothing wrong. Okay? I am not accusing you of anything. I am just saying we need to have a conversation. That is all. Fine. I guess I can meet you around 7 p.m. 7 p.m. at the Largo Police Department. I have no clue where that is. It is located at, well, I can provide the address unless you have a different spot in mind. I would rather not go there. Okay? Where would you feel comfortable? I can meet at Starbucks or wherever works for you. That is fine. I really just don't get why I am being investigated for asking a name and looking at an ID, because a report was filed with us and I am required to interview every party involved to close the case. So am I going to be in trouble? Not necessarily. I just need to document your perspective so I can file it and, as I said, wrap this whole thing up. But, I looked at an ID for a name. That is literally all I did. She refused to tell me who she was, so I checked the badge myself. Right. I hear you. However, I have to speak with you face to face because we wear body cameras now. Protocol requires everything be handled in person. I just feel like if I meet you, I am going to end up in handcuffs or something, and I am not comfortable with that risk. Can we just meet at the Publix on East Bay at 19? Yeah, the location near the Dollar Tree and those other shops. Yes. Yep, that works. Publix, 7 p.m. You are literally going to destroy my life because I looked at an ID. This is absurd. I told you I just need to hear your side. No, you guys always seem to go after people who have literally done nothing wrong. So, whatever. I am just going to have my entire life ruined because I asked for a name and checked a badge to find it. Okay? She refused to serve me, so whatever. I will see you at 7 p.m. at the Publix. Okay? Mackenzie agreed to the meeting a bit early, and she brought backup. Her parents were standing right there with her. So, are you still willing to fill this form out? I guess so. Okay. What is she actually agreeing to? She signed right there. This is just the Miranda warning. It basically states that anything she writes down can be used in court, and that she swears her written statement is the absolute truth of what occurred. That is all. That is it. Yeah. Well, yeah. But can I ask a few things? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Look, we haven't had much time with everything happening. We haven't had a chance to contact a lawyer or anything yet. From what we understand of this, you know, Kenzie is a great kid, basically. She has never been in trouble, never had an issue. She works just down the street. I guess my question is, should we secure an attorney before signing anything? That is entirely up to you. It won't change what is about to happen right now. I am simply giving her a chance to explain her actions so I can include it in the file. If she refuses to talk or write it down, her side of the story won't exist in the record. So if she wants to consult a lawyer, she can do that. It just won't change the result of tonight's encounter. But if she holds back her info, I have nothing to present to the state attorney on her behalf. What exactly is the result of tonight? You are currently facing charges for the incident at Raising Cane's, but I want to understand your perspective. I didn't know looking at a name badge was against the law. It isn't just about looking at a tag. You grabbed it to check for a name. It wasn't there, so I let go and walked away. That is how I remember it happening. I wear a work badge at my job too, and it displays our names. I have had patients grab mine to read it before. So I honestly didn't know that snatching a badge to find a name after a refusal was a crime. You cannot touch another person or grab the property they are wearing without their permission. If you do check it, especially on an item like a name badge, because that is how I saw it, well, it is not your property. A name tag, I get it. But if you don't own it, you can't touch, grab, or manipulate it without the person's consent. It would be a different story if you asked, hey, may I see your badge? And they said yes or held it out for you. It sucks because people do it to me constantly, and I never considered it illegal. So since it happens to me all the time, I didn't think it would be a problem for anyone else. Well, I am sorry you've had to deal with that. I hope you realize you can report it to us if someone does that to you. I just wouldn't do that. I would never press charges over a name tag check. It is tragic that I'm getting charged for this when I manage a business and have a reputation to maintain. But my life is basically over because I checked a name tag after she refused to identify herself when I asked for help. And she wasn't helping me at all. Look, I manage a business. When people need help, I help them. I give my name whether I want to or not. I get it. We're required to identify ourselves too. I've had people grab my badge to get my name, but I've never pressed charges or ruined their life over it. Unfortunately, private businesses operate under their own distinct policies. Raising Cane's has a policy where employees aren't required to give their name, even if asked. She could have just mentioned that, though. Instead, it was just a flat no. I was just told no. Nobody explained that I physically wasn't allowed to check the tag. How am I supposed to know that walking in? Do I need a sign plastered on the door, if that's the rule everywhere? Checking a name tag is pretty standard. Respectfully, doesn't this seem excessive? I mean, shouldn't she just get a warning? She's never been in trouble. She's never done anything like this. Tell you what, I'll speak with you two over here and explain everything I've found. The officer can wait here with Mackenzie. All right? Do you want to fill this form out, or would you prefer to skip it for now? We aren't really familiar with this process. It's fine. We're not trying to. No, I'm not saying you are. I understand the hesitation. Is this my only chance to fill it out? It is. You won't get another shot at this specific form. You'll have a chance to speak to a lawyer later, but this is the only time for this form because once I'm at my car, I'm filing it away. Let me explain exactly what's going on. I don't want anything to be misunderstood here. The issue is that, unfortunately, you can't just reach out and snatch things from people. Under state law, taking or attempting to take something by force is considered robbery. So the charge she is facing right now is strong arm robbery. There was no weapon involved, obviously, right? No weapon, but there has to be force. And since she ripped it from her and hit the manager in the leg, that counts as force. Plus, the manager was in fear. Those are the legal elements. I have statements from everyone involved and all the witnesses. I have the security footage. I also checked her background to see if there was any leeway. She was involved in a theft previously, but they gave her a diversion program That means instead of a conviction, she did community service. I didn't check if she was ever convicted, but I saw the diversion. That implies it might not be permanently on her record. If this is her only charge, the state attorney will likely work out a plea deal to drop it, since strong arm robbery is a felony. Since her record is mostly clean, they'll probably offer a deal to reduce it to a misdemeanor. I can't promise anything, but if the witnesses decide later that they don't want to pursue this, the charges could be dropped completely. Unfortunately, if this were just a misdemeanor battery, I could use my discretion and forward charges without an arrest. I explained that earlier. But I don't have discretion here. The probable cause exists, so I have to make the arrests. I apologize. Yeah, absolutely. That's where we stand. Okay. I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed so you know what's happening. All right. I'll be right back. So this started over sauce, and it's ending in an arrest. You reached for her lanyard specifically to get her name? That was the only reason?
100%.
Because, can I show you my badge? Yeah, go ahead. This is my work badge. It has my name. If you open it, my first and last name are there. Hers just said Raising Cane's. I thought the other side would have her name. That's all I wanted, her name, so I could handle it separately. I wanted to get the name, leave, and contact her manager. That's literally it. When people have issues at my store, I ask who helped them. I need to know. I just needed a name. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I wasn't trying to do anything except identify her after she refused. I didn't know they were allowed to hide their names. I got you. You're saying this happens to you, so you didn't think it was a crime. Yes, it happens to me constantly. I wear mine right here. People grab it all the time asking, "What's your name?" and yank on it. I never once thought to call the police. I never thought it was illegal for someone to grab something I'm wearing. I've walked by people and had them grab things. I didn't think this was illegal by any means. I hear you. From talking to you, you seem like a good person. It sounds like there was no ill will. Unfortunately, the situation is out of my hands. I don't have discretion on this charge. Can you give my bag to them? They can take whatever you need. I'm going to include everything you told me in the report, including your reasoning. Given your history, it makes complete sense. When you get to the jail, they will tell you what the bond is. Patrol officers don't know the amount. That's up to the sheriff's office. Where do my parents go? You'll be transported to the Pinellas County Jail. The process is pretty standard. Got it. The sheriff's office contracts a transport service for these hours. A van will come here to take you to the facility. Do you want to search? Yeah. Yes. We'll put in the request. They'll pick her up. And once she's there, she'll get a phone call and her bond amount. And then how do I call? How does she get to make the phone call? Correct. They usually allow a quick dial. She gets to keep her device to look up numbers, and there's even a power cord available in booking. She will have access to her entire address book. We are heading over there. Okay then. What is the plan? Does she dial me right away? That is correct. She will contact you the moment they hand it over. I love you, honey. The moment she gets clearance to use the line, she will have her device ready to look up your info. That way she can explain the situation and tell you the bail amount. When they set bail, which is likely since her record lacks violence, she only has that one minor larceny incident. I see no reason why they would deny her release. You do not need to pay the entire sum. It usually requires a fraction, around 10 or 20%. As I mentioned, I am not corrections staff. So I cannot quote the exact rate. Once that amount is set, you can cover it and bring her home this evening. Understood. Booking takes a few hours, so I am calling transport to speed things up for everyone. As I mentioned earlier, this entire situation is truly regrettable. She honestly appears to be a genuinely decent individual. I simply lack the authority to let this slide given the facts. Mackenzie Keeling faced accusations of strong-arm robbery, a second-degree felony. She walked free the following morning after securing a $2,500 release. On December 2nd of that year, her lawyer filed a written plea of not guilty. The docket indicates that on January 13th, 2025, the charge was reduced to a misdemeanor. Appreciate you tuning in to Inside the Crime. I am Elizabeth Milner. Join us again tomorrow for a new story. It was intended to be a simple pickup order. She kept complaining about how she burned up all her gas just driving back up here. She was basically just mad that I refused to give her freebies. So instead of extra sauce, this meal came with a side of handcuffs. It is really sad that I am facing these charges when I run a business and have a reputation to maintain. We are breaking down how this food run turned into a crime scene. Welcome to Inside the Crime, brought to you by Law and Crime. I am Elizabeth Milner. Let's be real. If you live on delivery apps like I do, you know the struggle when an order gets messed up. Maybe they forget your drink, leave out a side, or you get someone else's dinner. In this case, the food was fine, just some famous sauce was missing.